I'm from Black America, it's just another year. You knew the disrespect by your elected puppeteers, but let me show you how to persevere.
Yo, 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 what's up, what's up?
It's sucker free. Each and every Wednesday night. Hey, little girl. Hey, bartender. Say what? The Compton be in the house. Everything is alright. I got Compton tonight.
Yo, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Jay DeCosta, one half of the Nitty Gritty Show. I was out here struggle streaming earlier. Shout out to JT letting me know my volume wasn't working. I had people checking in, but then checking off real fast. Now I see what was going on. Folks couldn't hear me. I wish somebody would have just told me in the comments earlier, hey, bruh, you talking to yourself. But looks like we working now. I thought I did a mic check. I thought I did a mic check. Obviously, I didn't do the right mic check. So I know I'm working now. I see the green at the bottom. I'm good. So we running this from the top. But it's not like y'all missed anything because you didn't hear me in the first place. But once again, if you chime in on the video, if you log back in, hopefully I sent the new links out to everybody. So hopefully you guys see that. You know, my bad, man. Players mess up sometimes too. You feel me? So anyways, let's jump into it. I'm just going to kind of run it back from the top. Like I said, y'all didn't miss much. I'm happy I didn't get deep into the topic. That would have hurt my soul. That would have hurt my soul. But anyways, look, once again, we didn't have a show last week. I want to say thank you, everybody. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. This is your boy's last year in his 30s. So we were trying to close it in a bang. Shout out to my boo for making that happen. Speaking of my boo thing, I know y'all used to the pretty lady next to me, my wife, Katniss. She had an appointment tonight, so she couldn't be here. But she always with us in spirit. I hope you watching live wherever you are. Well, I know exactly where you are, but I hope you watching live and got all the girls laughing over there where y'all at. So anyways, let's dig into it. Let's run through some current news first. And then we're going to get down to the nitty gritty and talk about listening and communication and all these great themes. So anyways, current news, Ja Morant in trouble after displaying a gun in a video. So look. If you're, actually, it don't even matter if you're famous, all right? Two things you need to know about life. One, know better. Well, actually, a few things. I'm not going to take this two because I'm going to name about 4 things. But one, if you know better, do better, right? 2, when you arrive or make more money or try to better yourself, the cheat codes to doing that are basically 2 things. 1, you sometimes have to change your geographical location. Sometimes you can't reside where you currently are. You can't go back to the hood. You might want to be able to help the hood, send the hood a check, build some new stuff in the hood, create jobs in the hood, right? But sometimes you can't go into the hood because they see you in your Lamborghini, they see you in your nice clothes, and some folks, they have a hard time congratulating your growth. They might want to get at you, right? Because they want to keep you in the box of who they used to know. They don't want you to become this new evolved person. They want to always feel like they got something on you, right? So sometimes you got to change your geographical location. You can't go to certain places. Second, you sometimes have to change the folks you surround yourself with. You can't be around the same dudes that have the old mentality, the girls that don't think the same. This happens in so many facets of life. I don't care if you're a married man. You can't hang around all your single married men friends. Because they out here trying to do different things that you're not on. Same thing for the ladies. You married, you can't be around your single friends all the time. They not on the same thing that you're on. They like, oh, your man telling you to come home. Oh, girl, I would never. Right? Nah, get around some married women so they can, put some things in your mind that you probably need. You have to be very careful about who you lend your mind and your time to. So where you are and who you're around are important. It would keep you out of so many situations. I do feel like his situation could have been totally avoided just by changing up who he decides to be around and where he decides to go. We see this with so many basketball players, entertainers, and just everyday people in life can mess up a good thing just by entertaining the wrong crowd or locations. When you know better, do better. All right? Next, You got Chris Rock special on Netflix. Selective Outrage. I thought it was cool. I've always been a Chris Rock fan. I thought it was funny. Is it his funniest? I don't think so. I still think Bigger and Blacker is his funniest stand-up special. My personal opinion. Don't at me. Just understand me. My personal opinion. All right? I always felt Bigger and Blacker was better. But I thought this special was cool. He addressed the slap, right? And I know some people are saying, why are we still talking about the slap? Listen, that's that man's personal experience. And he should be allowed to speak on his personal experience. We still talking about Jay-Z and Dame Dash breaking up over Rockefeller. We still talking about R. Kelly. We still talking about Meghan Markle and all her stuff. So if this brother wants to talk about something that's a year old, allow him to, because it's his point of view. It is his personal life, and he's allowed to have an outtake or an opinion on that. Everybody else had red table talks and said everything. Allow that brother to get off his. All right? So I respect his freedom to speech and to speak on something. And I think the timing was perfect because, if I'm correct, the Academy Awards is next weekend. So the timing is perfect. And think about it. Even if he said nothing, even if he came out and apologized to Will Smith as if he needed to apologize for getting slapped or punched in the face, they were going to talk about it anyways. They were going to say, oh yeah, last year's Oscars, no one cared about Questlove winning. No one cared about the Lifetime Achievement Awards. No one was going to say nothing about that. Or the fact that he won for King Richard. No, you know what people are going to talk about as we're going into this new Academy Award season? Hey, you remember last year when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock? Come on now. Like, let's not act brand new, society. We know how people get down. We know what they going to talk about. So yeah, let that man talk about it. It ain't old news for him. He's still living through it. So let him talk about it. Creed 3. Me and Katrina saw Creed 3. Awesome movie. No spoilers here. I thought it was dope. I believe Michael B. Jordan needs to take a bow. His first direction debut. I think he did an amazing job. And when you look at direction, you look at camera angles and you look at the acting job of the actors under said direction. So with that, I think he did an amazing job. I wouldn't mind seeing him in the running for some type of award for direction. According to whatever award period he would be a part of. Creed 3 just came out, so I don't think he could go for it this year, but maybe next year, who knows? They might consider him. I thought he did an amazing job. And also, Jonathan Majors, bravo. He's such an amazing actor. I'm a big fan of Jonathan Majors. I think he does an amazing job. Those young men, everybody on that cast did an amazing job on Creed, and they should be celebrated. So shout out to Creed 3, great movie. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It is definitely worth that $18, $20, or whatever you're paying wherever you live for a ticket. But, we pay for everything else. We buy all these nice clothes. You got to wear them somewhere. Wear it to the movies, all right? And then last but not least, got to talk about this. So there's a video that went viral talking about rags, okay? And I got to bring this up. It's relevant to the conversation. The two individuals is a white man, white woman, and they're talking about rags, and they make the comment that only the poors have they seen use a rag to wash. Now, this is funny because we in the black community, especially here in America, and I think, most places I've been, whether it's the Caribbean or even in Europe, we use rags to wash up. We believe in an apparatus to help remove dirt and dead skin off of your body. It works. I mean, throughout the world, they create various apparatuses for different parts of your body, whether it's washing your face, cleaning your hands. They have loofahs, all kind of devices used to help remove dirt and dead skin cells off of your body to properly exfoliate, right? And to just generally clean. So it's interesting that a stereotype that's been talked about a lot, that these individuals will flip it and try to say, well, only the poors use it, right? Now, listen here. It's not a poor thing for sure. There's plenty of people with money of all racial makeups that use various devices to clean their bodies, right? Now, we know in our community, we like to smell luxurious, okay? And part of that is taking a washcloth and cleaning between those crevices. I think it is necessary. It is absolutely necessary to make sure you smell your best clean self. Now, for all those who are using wash rags and cloths and things of that nature, I will say this. You might want to consider changing that thing out. This is what I mean. You use a wash rag, you wipe between your crevices, you remove all the dirt and stuff on you. You need to take that rag and then put it in the dirty clothes hamper, throw it away, whatever you do. I know some people that got money, they be like, oh, once I use it, once I throw it away. I'm not built like that. If I use a wash rag, it goes in the hamper, it goes in the washing machine, we clean it, OxyClean, a little bit of Tide, get that thing together, and then use it again for another time afterwards it's been washed, right? Same thing for your wash towels. You use it once. Some people could get away with it twice. I say generally you use it once, put it in the dirty clothes hamper, you wash it again, right, to be used another time after it's nice, clean, and fresh. And I think this is important because some people have sensitive skin. So using the same wash rag or towel, after a while, it's not beneficial. I mean, you're just putting a dirty rag back on you. But I do highly believe one needs a wash rag. So it was interesting that video went viral because it's like, who raised you? TK Kirkland voice. If you're going to use a you got to use a wash rag to wash your bodies. We know people out here smelling like wet animals. All right, that's a little dog whistle to my people. Because they're using their hands. I done had plenty of conversations with friends and folks in my social circle. They talk about, the difference between, I use my hands versus a wash rag. And I'm like, I don't know. If you want to smell your best clean self, you might want to get a little wash rag on your body. That's all I'm saying. Put a little wash rag on your body. Let that soap lather up properly in all your areas. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Moving on. Look, don't want to delay. Today we're moving a little slow if you're just joining us. I was struggle streaming for like the first 15 minutes. I literally had to start the stream over. So I'm going to actually get rid of the old stream. This will be the only one that stays up. My mic wasn't hot. Of all things, right? So anyways, had to start the stream over. Literally start the show over. But it's all good. You're here. If you're here, shout out your city. I'll shout out your city. You know what I'm saying? Happy to have you here. Today we're talking about listening. Everyone says communication is the key, right? They're always like, you got to communicate. You got to express yourself. And I think in this social media world, it's easy for one to express themselves. But then how well do you do at taking in information, right? A lot of us love to give it. Oh, we love to tell you how we feel, where you can go. This is what you did wrong, yada, yada, yada. But how well do we take in information, right? When someone is speaking to us, do we receive it? So I want to talk about the other half of communication, because most of the time we just talk about how well do you say what you need to say. But then how well do we listen to what's going on? So let's talk about that part, right? So let's get down to the nitty gritty and let's talk about listening today. Some of y'all gonna have to listen to me for about another 25, 30 minutes here. All right. But anyways, let's get into it. And if you have any comments or whatever, feel free to throw them out and we'll get down to it. We'll discuss this openly, right? Because that's what we try to do here on the Nitty Gritty Show. So let's get down to it. Throw a little air horn out there. Right? Get into conversation.
Help me.
Okay?
Help me.
But just remember,
I said what I said.
all right, let's do it. So anyways, let's quick definition so that we can all level set here real quick. All right. Listen. It's a verb. Gives one attention to a sound, all right? But as a noun, the act of listening to something, all right? Then let's talk about hear, right? To hear. It's a verb. Hearing is a verb. It's an action, all right? Perceive with the ear the sound made by someone or something, right? So listening, right? Also to listen or pay attention to, all right? or be told or informed of, right? Now, let's talk about pay attention. Pay, give or bestow attention, respect, or a compliment to something or someone, right? Attention. Everybody loves attention, right? Notice taking of something or someone, the regarding of someone or something as interesting or important, all right? The mental faculty of considering or taking notice of someone or something, the action you're dealing with or taking special care to someone. So, right, to pay attention, right? To give or bestow the notice of something, right? To give mental focus or considering the notice of someone or something, right? That's just the basics of listening, hearing, or paying attention. Now, I pulled some research here from various researchers, and they said paying attention may seem like a single action or skill, but it's actually a process that involves a number of steps. Now, as we talk about this is not just relationship information. This stuff could work for you at work. It could work for you with friendships, when trying to communicate ideas, all right? In school, right? You got a lot of people in school, right? This is helpful. So this is helpful information to everyone. So anyways, attention is like a funnel that lets people select and take in useful information. Once this information is in, the brain can make sense of it and store it in a memory to be used later. This type of memory is called working memory. All right? There are 4 steps to paying attention. Let's break these down. 1, being aware, alert, and ready to take in information. Now, some key steps, I use this in college when studying. They used to always say, study in portions, right? People tend to remember the first and last thing most easiest, right? So when you study in like 5-minute intervals, 10-minute intervals, maybe 15 intervals, if your working memory allows you to, what happens is you tend to remember the first thing and the last thing. So by shortening how much information you take in might be helpful, right? So sometimes you have to break down the information, and maybe you need to communicate like, hey, I can only take it in spells. So sometimes you got to slow walk this conversation for me, okay? Right? But part of being ready and alert to taking information is setting the right theme or environment for you to listen. You got to eliminate the distractions, right? So sometimes you need to eat, people. It's hard to learn or to listen on an empty stomach. You got to eat. So number 1, first step, being aware, alert, and ready to take information. If you already know, listen, I'm tired, I didn't work all day, I ain't trying to hear all that. And we see this sometimes in relationships. You didn't work all day, your husband, your wife, they're ready, your kids, your friends, they're ready to unload on all this information on you. Sometimes before you do that, you as the person giving the information, you might want to first ask, hey, is this a good time to talk? Because I have to really talk to you about something, but are you ready to receive? And for you as the receiver of information, you need to be honest with that person if you're going to be listening attentively to them. You need to tell them, hey, you know what, sis? This ain't a good time right now. I'm tired. I done had a hard day. I didn't argue with my husband. Man, bro, I done got into it with the wife. I really don't got time to hear yours. My kids is asking me a bunch of questions right now. This ain't a good time, man. I'm busy. Can you call me back later? You know, is this an emergency? Maybe I could try to put some stuff aside and hear what you got to say, but I'm not really in the best space to listen to you, right? So being aware, alert, and ready to take in information is so important. Number 2, choosing what to pay attention to as the information comes in, all right? Sometimes when we're trying to discover, you see this in like tech sales or any kind of strategic sales or any kind of strategic marketing, sometimes you have to understand what are the key markers you're looking for. So this may not be best suited when someone's trying to vent to you, but this might be best suited for an investigative approach, maybe something work-related, maybe school-related, understanding what are the key markers I'm listening for, right? So that way I don't get caught up in the fluff of the information, but I make sure the core information that is coming to me, I'm taking that in. That's important. So I don't want to say selective listening, but you do need to know what key things am I listening for in this conversation, right? I think that's important. Number 3, ignoring distractions to focus on what you're doing. We kind of talked about this a little earlier. If you know you're hungry, if you know you don't have the best environment to focus in, you need to get rid of those distractors. This is really big for us with children and trying to create the best environments for them to learn. This is why they always talk about how smaller classrooms are more so beneficial to a child's learning and development, because you're helping lessen distractions that can come from other children, right? And then as parents or those that supervise our young, that it becomes a big thing as well, because then it's like, well, how do I train my child or guide my child to not be the distraction when they go to school, or how to better focus in on information when they need to get it, right? There's a lot of men. I've been guilty of this. I've been guilty, baby. If you watching, this is my sorry for 2004. You know what I'm saying? But I've been in situations. Katrina comes in wanting to talk to me. I play the game, y'all. I play the game. All right, I play the game. Sometimes I'll be playing the game and she'll be teasing me because I'll be in this joint like this. She always say I do this thing with my lips. I don't know what it is, but she's like, I'm just focusing the game. She's trying to talk to me. I'm like, yeah. What's that? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Or sometimes I got my headset on, right? And I'm trying to cock my headset to the side because I'm still trying to listen to these guys because I got enemies to my left, enemies to my right. I'm trying to focus in, but my wife, my star player, is trying to talk to me. And sometimes I just need to take that off, put this to the side, turn my attention and say, all right, let's talk about this, right? Because she needs my full attention at that moment, right? And then number 4, that leads to it, shifting focus back to a task if you've been distracted, right? So sometimes in communication, these are basic things. And you would think this is a stuff that everybody knows as like human beings. But there's so many times throughout the day we don't practice active listening. I'm guilty of it. I'm a pretty decent listener, right? It's a big part of what I have to do for work. But at the same time, in my personal life, at times I could be hella dismissive. My wife ain't got on my behind plenty of times for that. And listen, that's why we got therapy. Because the beauty of therapy is in that moment, we've created an environment where we've decided we're going to listen and focus in on one another. And then you have a facilitator there in front of you, making sure that, or listening with you to say, well, did you hear what she said about this? Or did you hear what he said about that? Like, the job of the therapist, a lot of times, is just listening on their part and making sure, hey, I see a barrier in how well you listen to what this person had to say. A lot of times we think of therapy as a chance to get off what I need to say to someone. But honestly, a big part of therapy is that facilitator making sure, did you hear what this person just said to you? Did you hear? Are you actively listening to the information they're trying to give you to better your relationship so you could better love and take care of each other? That's such a big part. It's been a huge instrument in my marriage today. Like, having that therapy, making sure, and then having that person with us on that journey to say, did you hear that? Did you hear what Juan said when he said this? Did you hear what Katrina said when she said that? Do you understand why she's feeling that way? And then taking time to slow down, not to think about what I need to say or my objective, but just to say, you know what? Let me hear you. And really take in on what information you're trying to give me. All right? And let me process that information. So important. This is why we're talking about listening, because it helps us in so many facets of life. So, attention and working memory. Attention is closely linked to another skill called working memory, right? Attention lets us take information. Working memory lets us hold on to it long enough to actually use it. All right? Let's say someone is giving you a phone number. You need to pay attention to each number they're saying, but then you also have to remember the numbers long enough to write them down or use them right away, right? So attention and working memory work together to help us get things done. We rely on them to follow directions, complete tasks, and make sense of new information, right? So we have 10 steps. We're going to run through all of these. Yes, we're going to go over tonight. We're going to definitely go over 9 o'clock because I technically started late, since I was struggle steaming the first 15 minutes. So y'all just bear with me. If you have to drop off at 9, that's cool. This is going to be up on YouTube for y'all to watch later. But we are going to go through 10 tips to help us become better listeners. All right? So let's break down through this. Number one. And for all my salespeople out there watching, for some of my folks that work in fields where they have to negotiate and understand terms and various strategies, a lot of my consultants, you guys are going to feel a lot of what I have to say. Those in relationships, people in school, people out there actively dating. This is going to be some helpful information for y'all today, okay? We're going to talk about all of it. So this is going to be fun. Number one, face the speaker and have eye contact. Oh my God, this one gets under my skin when I'm talking to, like, especially like in customer service, or because it helps so much. It really is. It's a simple step, but so many people don't do it. But face the speaker and have eye contact. This is like a must. I'm happy that is number one. Let's break this down as the professionals have described this, okay? Eye contact is an important part of face-to-face conversation. Too much eye contact can be intimidating, though, so adapt this to the situation you're in, right? Try breaking eye contact every 5 seconds or so, or to show you're listening attentively, look at one eye for 5 seconds, then another eye for 5 seconds. Sometimes you can switch to looking at their mouth or even their forehead. We learned this in public speaking. If you want to give the allure or the assumption that you're actually making eye contact while giving a speech. We learned this in Toastmasters, International Association of Business Communicators. Have you ever been a part of that? PRSSA. They all say the same thing. You know, sometimes you look at foreheads. You do little things to make people feel like they're getting eye contact to help draw people into you. When you look away, looking to the side or up is better than looking down, which seems like you want to close the conversation, right? So sometimes when we're thinking, people, and I've done this plenty of times. I do this a lot of times on the show or just talking to folks in general. Sometimes when I'm trying to bring back a memory or something, or think about an old theme, or if I'm trying to bring up a stat, I may look up into the sky or to the side because I'm trying to pull out of the ether some type of information that's relatable to the conversation. So this happens, all right? But you don't want to look down, because looking down can be somewhat dismissive. It's like, are you not paying me any mind? Especially, please don't be looking down at the phone. That's like the worst, right? And then also check your posture, right? Having your posture, make sure that it's open. Avoid crossed arms, crossing your legs, which can make you look closed off or defensive. Leaning slightly forward or sideways while sitting can show that you're listening. As can a slight tilt of your head or resting your head on your hand, right? So you'll have some people when they're listening, they do this number. Shout out to my man, Armando Pantoa, Tall Guy Tycoon. This is his big thing. Whenever you're talking to him, he's gonna do this number right here. He loves to do this thing. If you're watching right now, don't take offense to it. Like that's how I know you're listening, right? Some people, I like to lean in. I'm one of those lean in types, especially if we talking money. It's like, hold up, wait a minute, what you say? What you say? Say that one more time. You know, like you're gonna lean in. I've known a lot of parents say something disrespectful to a parent. They hit that little head tilt. You want to say that one more time, young man? Excuse me, who you talking? Who you talking to? Right? They lean that head in. So that's a big one. Eye contact, your posture, really big, and how you communicate. Number 2, listen to non-verbal cues as well. That's a big part of communication, right? When you're taking in information, yes, you're taking in the words coming out of their mouth, but sometimes your posture gives a whole nother story as to what's going on. So pay attention to what the other person is saying with their body language. Facial expressions, tone of voice, and gestures can give you just as much as what is being said in words. Pay attention to what the other person is saying with their body language. Are they smiling, for example? Or are their arms crossed defensively? Or are they rubbing their eyes because they're tired or upset? Even on the phone, you can learn a lot from the other person's voice, which might sound subdued or upbeat. This is a practice that we even see in interviewing with people, right? You're interviewing somebody for the job. A lot of times they're looking at your body language, right? So these are some key things to look at. Understand some of the information that people are taking in when viewing your communication. Number 3, this is a pet peeve of mine. I done gone off on folks. People that know me personally know this one right here could get me highly upset. Like, don't disrespect me like this. Number 3, don't interrupt. Don't interrupt. Being interrupted is frustrating for the other person. It gives them the impression that you think you are more important or that you don't have time for what they have to say. If you are naturally a quicker thinker or speaker, force yourself to slow down so that the other person can express themselves. I've seen people berate people with question after question. You can't even answer the first one. They just John Wicking you. You know what I'm saying? They just chopping you with. So where did this go? Where did you go? At this time, what was you saying when you did this? Chat, 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 chat. And it's like, hold up. I haven't even answered 5 questions ago what you asked me. Slow it down, right? Remember, a pause or a few seconds of silence doesn't mean that you have to jump in. Letting the other person speak will make it easier for you to understand their message. Once again, a big part of communication isn't just you getting off your words. Neo with them. You know what I'm saying? No, another big part of communication is, got 2 ears here, 1 mouth. Let me hear what you got to say to me. All right? Even the interruptions that respond to something that they said can be distracting if it means the conversation gets sidetracked from what they were originally trying to tell you about. For those in relationships, we've seen this one 1,000 times, right? You say something, then they harp on that one little piece. It's like, wait a minute, but we talking about the color of the wall. I get it. I mentioned something about the hammer, but we're not talking about the hammer. We're really talking about the color of the wall. But now you're going tick for tat for every little thing. We're talking about the hammer. We're talking about the nail. We're talking about the paintings. But at the end of the day, the conversation was about the color of the wall. All right? So this is why we can't interrupt. And if this does happen, steer the conversation back to, so you were telling me about XYZ. We were originally talking about that. I just want to get clarity there. Let me understand what you meant when you said, right? These are important things as you jump through the conversation. Number 4, listen without judging or jumping to conclusions. Sisters, I'm going to throw y'all out right here. Y'all be jumping to conclusions like Jordan was jumping, dunking the ball. I mean, y'all would just hop, bunny hop to conclusions. Just jump, right? I'm just messing with y'all. But no, people do this, right? If you start reacting emotionally to what's being said, then it can get in the way of listening to what's said next. So many of us, and I think we've all been guilty of this, right? Somebody says something, we get triggered by it, and now we're so emotionally invested in the triggering word or thing, we're still losing context overall of the message that the person is trying to display. And sometimes, people are not the perfect communications are in. So you have to really listen with intent to say, well, what is this person honestly trying to convey to me? Before I get upset, before I get in my emotions, what's the true information that I'm listening for here, right? So that's so important. So you got to try to focus on listening. Equally, don't assume that you know what's going to be said next. So many people want to act like they're Sherlock Holmes. I knew what you're about to say. You're about to say that this. I knew exactly what you're about to say. Oh, yeah. Let me cut you off real quick. Now you're doing 2 things wrong. You're listening without judging. You're jumping to the conclusions. And then you're doing the whole interrupting thing. I know what you're about to say. You're about to say this. I knew exactly what you're about to say. And you don't know. So just listen. Number 5. This goes, when you talk about listening without judging or jumping to conclusions, number 5 kind of goes side by side with this one. Don't start planning what to say next. I've witnessed conversations with people, right? Where it's like you ever seen 2 people have 2 different conversations? Because they're so busy worried about what they're going to say next. And you can kind of tell, like, when you're witnessing, right? They could be talking about this red cup right here. Let me take a sip of it. They're talking about this red cup. One person is more concerned about the insides. Yeah, I wonder what he's drinking. What's in there? And then the other person keeps on saying, yeah, that's a red cup. Is that a solo cup? Or is that a generic brand one? Like by Giant or something like that. And then the other person comes back, yeah, because, Every now and then, I like to put a little vodka in my cup. And the other person is like, yeah, I don't know why he bought the red one. I would have bought the blue one. They're not communicating. They're just expressing various thoughts, but at no point no one said, oh, you wonder what's in the cup? You know what? That is interesting. He doesn't seem to be inebriated, so maybe it's just simply some water in the cup. But yes, it's some sparkling water in the cup, right? And then the other person might say, yeah, I wonder what's in there. Yeah, and you know what? I wonder why he chose that color. And then the thing you would respond back is like, yeah, you know what? I'm not a big fan of red. I would do blue. I hate being part of conversations where people, you can tell too when they're just planning the next thing, because it doesn't really flow or ebb with the conversation. It's like you just went a whole nother direction. Did you hear what I had to say? Right? So communication, don't start planning what to say next. You can't listen and prepare at the same time. All right? Number 6, show that you're listening. Nod your head, smile, make a noise like yes, uh-huh. Or, you know what I'm saying? Don't say, yeah, that's crazy. Because, hold on. You can't say, yeah, that's crazy. Because everybody know, right? When you start saying, yeah, that's crazy, that's like the easiest side to say, yeah, bro, I'm tuning out, man. Man, that's crazy. Like, dudes be on phones with girls, they just trying to get at them. They just hoping to get some draws later. So they just pretend to listen to their problems. And they be like, yeah, for real, shorty. They, you know, women love telling you about their work. Like, I think, oh, girl, she trying to conspire against me. I don't like so-and-so. And then they be like, wah-womp, 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 wah-womp. You know, it's like the Peanuts. Wah-womp, 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 wah-womp. And then they say, yeah, like, how you feel about that? He just be hitting with the, man, yeah, that's crazy, man. Like, you know, they not listening. They just hit you with the, yeah, that's crazy. So I don't think you need to be like, yeah, that's crazy. But I think, once again, you know, you're looking at them. You're maybe responding. You're not cutting them off, but you're just letting them know, like, oh, yeah, man. Showing little bits of empathy throughout the way. But you don't want to look at your watch. You don't want to fidget or play with your nails or your fingernails, because then that just seems like you're not listening, right? So there's different cues, you know, to let people know, you know, you encourage them to keep on speaking. Maybe, you know, you laugh, you pause, whatever. You let them know that you're hearing what they got to say, but, you know, you're still actively listening. You're not trying to cut them off or anything, right? 7, don't impose your opinions or solutions. Now, I'm big time guilty of this one, because I'm like Mr. Fix-It. So, you know, you come talk to me, complain to me, share with me. First thing I'm thinking is like, all right, I hear X, Y, Z. All right, I got my algorithm together. So how do we solve for X or solve for Y? I automatically want to give a solution. Maybe not an opinion, but I do want to give a solution. I'm guilty of that. I'm just being honest with y'all. I mean, I'm not perfect, okay? I know you guys thought I was. Just playing. But, yeah, you know, I start thinking about, like, an opinion or something that I have in it. But anyways, don't impose your opinions or solutions, number 7. It's not always easy, but lending a listening, supportive ear can be much more rewarding than telling someone what they should do. When a loved one has health problems, is a time they probably want to tell you how they're feeling and get off their chest, rather than you have a lot of advice for what they should be doing. I just seen someone post this recently. They had a health issue. People are commenting, oh, you need to do this or help this, help that. And it's like, I didn't really ask y'all for that. I just wanted to let you know where I was at. In other areas of life too, most people prefer to come to their own solutions. If you really must share your brilliant solution, ask first if they want to hear it. Say something like, would you like to hear my suggestion? You know, tell them like, listen, I don't want to offer my unsolicited advice, but if you would like it, I'll be happy to share with you. And guess what? You have to accept, no, I don't want to hear your advice. You can't get mad at that. If they don't want your advice, you have to live with that. That's a part of communication. You might say, hey, can I give you my suggestion? You have to be cool with when you ask that question. It may not come back as yes. It may come back as, no, I don't want to hear what you had to say. I just wanted to vent. All right? So just that's part of listening, folks. I know it's hard. It's hard. It's hard for people like me, but it's hard. And that's part of it. Number 8, stay focused. Okay? If you're finding it difficult to focus on what someone is saying, try repeating their words in your head as they say them, right? This will reinforce what they're saying to help you concentrate. This is a big one, like at work, maybe when you're studying, at school. just trying to capture the information, more so like a lecturing kind of situation. Because I feel like if you're having a conversation, I feel like it's okay. You're not trying to interrupt. You're like, hey, wait a minute. Can you say that one more time? Because I'm trying to understand. And that just shows that you're listening. If it's a one-on-one conversation, like, hey, hold up. Can you pause real quick? I'm trying to understand what you just said. Can you say that one more time? You said the red cup is a problem for you, and that's why you can't drink water from it. Just you're asking for clarity. You're not trying to cut them off. You're not trying to start a whole piece of conversation or dialogue. It's like, just can you repeat that? Because I want to make sure I'm capturing information. Nothing wrong with that. And then also try to shut out the distractions once again. Like other conversations going on in the room. I've been in conversations with people where you can tell you're talking to them, but they too busy ear hustling to see what's going on somewhere else. And I be wanting to tell them, like, yo, Slim, like, just walk over there and just join their conversation. Like, you don't got to pretend to entertain me. All right, I get it. I'm not important enough here. I'm not so-and-so and this person. I haven't made it to this level of influence yet. That's fine. I mean, if you got to go listen to that other conversation, you need to be a part of that. Or, you checking for shorty or for old bruh, whatever's going on, just go ahead and just exit the conversation. Because obviously you ain't listening to me, right? So, yeah, that's important. You got to stay focused, guys. If you're going to speak with someone and if you desire to hear what they have to say, you got to stay focused. You got to see this thing through. Number 9, we're almost coming to the end. Ask questions. We kind of touched on this earlier, right? Ask relevant questions can show that listening can help clarify what is being said. If you're not sure what's understood correctly, wait until the speaker pauses and then say something like, did you mean that X was this? Or I'm not sure if I understood you what you were saying about. Ask clarifying questions. Just be like, hey, look, I just want to get some clarity here. So you went to the store because you did X, Y, Z. And as parents, this is big. We actually need to listen to our children, right? Not listen as to take their direction. No, we need to listen what they're saying. It's like, okay, I get that you disobeyed me. I get that you got the bad grade in school. So when you ask them the questions, don't berate them. Actually listen for an answer. You might find out something interesting about your child that's going to help you guide them through a situation. It doesn't always call for do as I'm said, right? Do as I say, and then just keep it moving, right? You might find out a child might be struggling in school. You want to whoop their butt because they got an F or a D, just to find out. If you just listen, well, mom, dad, I'm not doing well in the class. I have a hard time seeing the board. Your child may have a vision issue, but because you're not listening, you're not going to help them fix their vision issue. Your child might tell you something like, well, every time I try to read it, the D's look like B's and the P's look like Q's. Your child might be telling you they're dyslexic, okay? They may be suffering from dyslexia. But you so busy getting off your words and not listening to your child, you're missing out on key information. Your child may be agitated at school. You may find out by listening that your child is being bullied, okay? So it's important that we listen. There's been plenty of time my kids have used tones with me. I love y'all though. I still love y'all. But they've used tones with me that I'm like, I might have got slapped out of Clarksville if I said something like that to my parents. But I learned some valuable information in just listening first. Just listening. Like, let me hear everything they saying. Because they really giving me a whole lot of information. I'm not even going to comment on every little thing. But let me just listen. Let me hear them out. So what are you saying? Oh, okay. And then sometimes you just got to eat that and just listen. Just listen. Listening is so powerful. And then 10, paraphrase and summarize. This is important. I see this a lot in sales. You'll see junior salespeople, or even sometimes people that's been around senior salespeople. They don't do a good job of listening to clients and customers, and that's why they miss so much key information. And then when they go back to their directors or their managers, and you're asking someone, "Hey, so what's the buying time frame? What's the criteria? What are you looking for?" And you'll normally find that salesperson or that consultant didn't paraphrase or summarize information as it came to them. So repeating what has been said really shows you've been paying attention and allows the speaker to correct you if you haven't understood. Sometimes call reflecting. This is repeating what has been said to show that you understand it. This may seem awkward at first, but really shows you've been paying attention and allows the speaker to correct you if you haven't understood correctly. If you're not sure how to do this, try starting a sentence with, sounds like you are saying. In summary, is this what you want me to understand? Just so that we're clear, is this what you meant? Right? This is so important in conversation. This transcends work. It goes into relationships, children. Sometimes with your children, you have to ask them, all right, before I lose my mind up in here like DMX and beat your behind, let me understand this. The reason why you got into a fight at school because someone called you a racial slur, or you got ignored by the teacher and then you acted out this way. Okay, I don't approve of you acting out this way, but now that I understand what happened, all right, going forward, now you start correcting the behavior, but you show the child, hey, I heard you. So before I flip out and do something wrong, it's important that we summarize. I need to understand what was communicated to me, right? What were you trying to convey? What is the important information here that I'm going to use going forward based off this communication? Listening. So listening is important. So to paraphrase or to go back, right? Let's summarize, right? I'm going to summarize for you in case you weren't listening. 4 main steps to paying attention. Like there's some key foundational things, right? The 4 things we talked about before early in the video. 1, being aware, alert, and ready to take in information. 2, choosing what to pay attention to as the information comes in. 3, ignoring distractions to focus on what you're doing. And 4, shifting focus back to the task if you have been distracted. And remember, we gave some keys to help you become a better listener. There was 10 of them. Number 1, face the speaker and have eye contact. Number 2, listen to nonverbal cues. 3, don't interrupt. 4, listen without judging or jumping to conclusions. 5, don't start planning what to say next. 6, show that you're listening, right? Smile, nod your head, give a right? 7, don't impose your opinions or solutions. And if you want to do so, ask for permission first. Ask them, do you want to hear what I got to say about it? Or were you just venting, right? 8, stay focused. Just focus in. Stay focused. Number 9, ask questions so you can clarify the information that's given to you, right? It helps keep you engaged in the conversation, by the way, right? Ask questions. And then last but not least, number 10, paraphrase and summarize. So just so that I understand you, sounds like you were saying, and then repeat the information given, and that gives the person giving information to you to correct you if you heard wrong. Okay? So I hope this is helpful information to everybody who was watching. I thought this was so necessary. And a lot of this was spun because of 2 things that happened recently that I viewed in life. 1, I was part of a corporate conversation with a company, and it was like a DE&I conversation. And they brought some individuals there to help consult on the nature of the issue. And the people weren't being heard out. And it's crazy because the I guess president or whatever he was for this particular company, he just wasn't listening to the people. It was supposed to be a 30-minute call. He spoke for 32 minutes, so they extended it out to like an hour and 15 minutes, right? And then, even then, when people were talking, he was cutting them off. He wasn't listening. It didn't really go so well, if I could be honest with you guys. It didn't go so well. I guess that individual tried, but it didn't go so well. There's going to be some follow-up conversations. We'll see if I'll be asked to come in and consult on that nature, but I don't think it really went so well. But hopefully they'll do better going forward. But this was, once again, poor listening, right? Then earlier today, I went to a smoothie place across the street, right? Go to the smoothie place. I tell the guy, hey, I want this particular smoothie. I want you to add blueberries and strawberries, right? While I'm talking to him, he's flirting with the girl that he works with. She's coming up behind him, rubbing up against him. I guess they got a little love situation going on at work. Okay, not the most appropriate place, but that's none of my business. I'm not your manager. But he's distracted because, you got Shorty over here, rubbing on him, talking about, hey, blah, blah. But I was very clear on what I communicated to him. And I was trying to look him in the eye, but he was too busy looking down and everywhere else because he's distracted by the young lady behind him. So then, when I go to pay for my stuff, I noticed that my bill is like $14. Now, the money's not really a big issue here, but it's like $14. And I know that my drink should only ran me like maybe 6 or 7. So then I look at it, and I say, hey, I only ordered the one drink. I wanted this particular one, but I wanted you to add blueberries and strawberries, right? He was like, oh, okay. Still barely listening to me again. Then he calls for the young lady to come back. I guess she the manager, right? So he flirting with the manager, all right? Manager comes back, and I'm like, yeah, ma'am, I only wanted the one drink. Made it clear. I said, I even used hand signal. I only wanted the one drink, and I wanted to add strawberries and blueberries. She goes in and say, oh, okay. So she looks at the receipt, right? She goes, gets some money out the drawer. She doesn't credit it back to my debit card, which I thought was weird. But then she gives me back $4 cash. Now the second drink that they added on was like a $6.59 drink. My drink was like $7.25, right? So then I'm looking at it, I was like, hey, ma'am, you gave me back the wrong change. You're supposed to give me back $6.59. She's like, oh, no, it's a $4 drink. It's like, I understand that. But the drink you credited me for on the receipt, you already voided out the $4 transaction. You actually charged me for another drink that's $6.59. My drink is $7.25. So really what you need to do is give me back $6.59. Now I'm showing her on the receipt. I'm trying to communicate with her. She's acting like she's listening at this point. She's on her calculator, and I was like, ma'am, you just have to give me back the $6.59. That's all. She's still looking at her calculator, calculating. She comes back and say, yeah, I owe you $8.49. And proceeds to give me $8.50. And at this point, I'm like, you know what? I ain't going to go ahead and correct you. I'm going to take my little $2 blessing because you too thick-headed to listen to me. You see what I'm saying? So anyways, listening skills are important. I know somebody's counting their drawer across the street and they about to be short. They about to be short, but I ain't steal nothing. You gave me back that. I communicated with you clearly. It was supposed to be $6 and some change. You gave me $8 and some change. I'm going to take my little $2 blessing and roll. Okay? Deuces. So anyways, that's how that went. So listening is important. Some quick shout outs. We're about to wrap this thing up, y'all. So quick shout outs. Wanted to shout out Women's History Month. It's March. It is officially Women's History Month. If you guys don't know, Women's History Month is an annually declared month that highlights contributions of women to events in history and contemporary society. It is celebrated during March in the United States, the United Kingdom, and Australia, corresponding with International Women's Day, which is March 8th. And during October in Canada, that's when they celebrate Women's History Month, corresponding with the celebration of Persons Day on October 18th. The commemoration began in 1978 when Women's History Day in Sonoma County, California, and was championed by Gerda Lerner and the National Women's History Alliance to be recognized as a national week in 1980, and then a month in 1987 in the United States, spreading internationally after that. So shout out to Women's History Month. Let me shout out a couple of women. And I want to start number one with the most important one in my life. And that's my wife, Katrina Marie DaCosta. She's an amazing woman. She's a trailblazer. She does amazing in her work field. I've seen her grow so much over our friendship and even within our marriage. I love the woman she's evolving to, and I'm here for the whole ride of whatever that becomes. So shout out to Women's Month. Second after that, I got to shout out my mama, right? Come on, I got to shout out mama. Mama's a strong black woman from D.C., overcame a lot of obstacles and hurdles in her life, and set me and my brothers up in a situation where we're able to be the men we need to be. She definitely had help from our father, but this is Women's History Month, so I got to shout out mama. Shout out to my grandmama. Shout out to my aunts. Paying respect to them. Shout out to Mama Jen, and also shout out to my grandmother-in-law, B. Benson. She has a whole award named after her at Case Western Reserve. So really dope. So there's some amazing women in my life. Special shout out to my Aunt Debbie. She was one of the first black female drivers for DC Metro in the DC area. So there's some women's history around me in close proximity. I would be remiss if I didn't shout those out. Also, in the nitty gritty, we shout out birthdays before I actually get to them. Interesting enough, one of the people I'm going to honor for their birthday is actually going to sing our birthday song. So Paul Thompson, happy birthday, sir. Let me kick off a little happy birthday from you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Man, do that.
Yeah, happy birthday, right? So anyways, let's do these birthdays. Shout out to, and I got a few of them because we won't be here next week. Remind you, we're going to be out of town celebrating some friends and some milestones in their life. So we won't be here. So I got birthdays over the next 2 weeks, basically. So let's do these in no particular order. But I'm saving some of the best for last. So first, I'll start off with Paul Thompson. Happy birthday to you. Thank you for providing our official birthday song here on the Nitty Gritty Show. Throwing that swag on it, giving us that good old Luther. All right, so happy birthday to you, sir. Happy birthday to Osvaldo Ramirez. All right, good friend of mine. Has an amazing flooring company here in the DMV area. Happy birthday to you, sir. Shout out to the homie Jackie P, OG. All right, used to work for Jackie years ago. An amazing woman, Women's History Month. So Jackie P, happy birthday to you. Want to say shout out to Troya Briscoe. All right, first fam, happy birthday to you, ma'am. Shout out to Daryl Holder. Shout out to the homie James Botley. Talk about my people. Another people from Austin P. If y'all don't know what I mean when I say people. Shout out to Michael Askew. All right. Happy birthday to you guys. Amazing men. And then also to bring it a little closer to home, want to shout out our cousin Ken Hawkins celebrating his birthday here soon. Want to shout out to my Uncle Everton. Right? Everton out there in out there in Jamaica. Shout out to Uncle Everton. I want to shout out to one of our cutest little cousins. She's like a cuddly little bear. Right? A grown woman, but still like, you know, that's like baby girl for everybody. Shout out to Allie. Allie, happy birthday to you, ma'am. Also, gotta shout out my little baby girl. My baby girl. Shout out to my little niece. My first niece. She's the first person to make me an uncle, right? Shout out to my niece, Natalie Altar. Her birthday is the day before my son's birthday, so I'm about to get to that. Gotta say happy birthday to my son. Technically not my namesake. I'll go ahead and give this story too, right? So my son is Juan Angelo da Costa II. He's technically named after his grandfather because they have the same middle name spelling. So my middle name is technically Angelo, but it was spelled with an I on my birth certificate. So my middle name is technically pronounced Angelio once you put that I in there. But it's supposed to be Angelo, okay? But I never corrected my middle name spelling on my birth certificate or social and all that and all my IDs and stuff. But my son, I made sure I spelled his name the traditional spelling for Angelo with no I. So he was named not Juan Angelo da Costa Jr. He was named Juan Angelo da Costa II because he's named after his grandfather. A little teachable moment. When someone has an identifier as junior, that means they're named directly after their father. But they can be still considered the second as well. However, when somebody has the name designation as the second, it doesn't mean necessarily that they're named directly after their father and they're also a junior. It could also mean if you're a second, you could be named after your grandfather or you could be named after your uncle. So if you have an uncle and you decide to, or a brother, right, and you decide to name your child, your son, directly after your brother, then that person can still be so-and-so the second. So for instance, my younger brothers, Richard and Nathaniel Altar. If Richard had a son today, he can name his son, actually it would have to be the other way around because Nathaniel already has a junior. So Nathaniel Altar, so if Richard Altar has a son, right? Or no, I said it right the first time. Nathaniel Altar can have a son, another son, and he could decide to name that other son Richard Altar II, making him the namesake of his brother, right? So a little teachable moment. So when you see people out there with the second and the third and these designations, it doesn't have to mean that, if so-and-so is such and such the fourth, that they're necessarily named directly after their father who is the third. It could be they're named after their grandfather who is the third, Or they could be named after an uncle who is the third, and now they have become the designation of the fourth. Throwing some little information out there for you. But anyways, happy birthday to my son. Happy birthday, sir. Bass player, chess player, swimmer, track runner, talented guy. I wish I looked as good as him at the age of 15 that he's going to be turning on March 11th. But your kids are always supposed to surpass you and be better. And he's definitely about to do that. So, shout out to you, brother. I didn't have any anniversaries or weddings to shout out. That hurt my heart. Nobody got married this time of the year. No one got married. I had to say it in the DC way. No one got married. Married? No one at this time of the year? No one got married. So anyways, I didn't have any anniversaries or wedding shout outs. And if I didn't call out yours, I tell y'all every week, if you got a birthday shout out or an anniversary shout out, send it to us so we can shout you out. Okay? It's so easy. And if you don't know where to find us, we're on Facebook at The Nitty Gritty Show 2017. We're on Instagram at The Nitty Gritty Show. YouTube here at The Nitty Gritty Show. And don't forget, I'll be on Twitch gaming. I mean, I'm a gamer. I'm a gamer, right? So y'all can check that out at TNGS _ Mr. letter L 7. That's the number 7 EVEN. Put a little funk on it so that people can find me easier. So yeah, you can catch me on Twitch. I'll be going live. I'll be out here chopping it up on Call of Duty, doing my thug thizzle. All right. But look, thank you guys for watching. We had a lot of views today. Not a lot of activity in the chat. Like, what's up? Y'all ain't want to talk to him, brother? What's good? Like, what's good? Okay? But anyways, I'm happy you guys watch. Please share and evangelize this message because we do need to do a better job at listening to those around us. It would help us so much in our relationships, at work, friendships, raising our children, you name it. A big part of communication is listening, so we wanted to get down to the nitty-gritty on that. But look, thank you guys for watching. I'm out. It's your boy, JD Casa. I'm one half of the Nitty Gritty Show. Baby, I know you watching somewhere. Katniss is with us in spirit. We out of here.